Welcome here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on wakeupcalldt.com, your one-stop sports shop, and on mixlr.com/wakeupcalldt. Hope you're having yourselves a tremendous morning this morning and enjoying your day today. Happy Tuesday, my good people. Hope you're having yourselves a fantastic week to start things off. If you're not, I hope it gets better. And if you are, I hope it gets better. So that's how it is. And we are on the verge of a fantastic month of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. There's so many great things that are coming up, and it's going to keep us busy all the way through to almost the end of August. We already have set and ready to go for you this week, having our fantastic segments on like we're going to have today inside of the Cafe Kubal Studios. On the Mark, which happens bi-monthly every other Tuesday. Shamarko Thomas, Syracuse and NFL alum, joins us for On the Mark, and we pick a special topic each week to go within this signature segment you'll only find on Wake Up Call. And then another segment you'll only find on Wake Up Call is called Sports Ends in a Vowel, and that's because two Italians are talking, Gina Castelli and myself, Dan Tortora. Our topic today is going to be very special as well. And then we have the ingredients to success, where I choose a topic every week and give you the ingredients to success for that topic. So proudly presented by Avicolli's on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York. So a lot of awesome stuff, a lot of great things happening today. We did our mock draft 1.0 for fantasy football a few weeks ago. Mike Sofka and I this Wednesday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time in the Fantasy Football Power Hour. We're going to be bringing you our mock draft 2.0. So we're going to give you 1.0, 2.0, and eventually 3.0 en route to your draft to keep getting you prepared. If you want to sign up for the Wake Up Call leagues here in Central New York, you go to dtstays@gmail.com. That's dtstays@gmail.com and sign up there. And we have limited space available, so the quicker you sign up, the better off you're going to be, because once it's gone, it's gone. So make sure you sign up today. A lot of awesome conversations. Trip Durham's going to be on the show. Christopher Heidel is going to be on the show, give their thoughts on the ACC kickoff because they were there with me. We'll also hear from Carl Haywood about his thoughts on the ACC kickoff. Papa Joe will be on. My guy Ewan is going to be joining us for the ACC kickoff conversation. So a lot of great stuff is coming up on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, and missing a second of it is going to be missing a lot. So make sure that you are here with us all throughout the week. And then next week, the Atlantic Division, all my Q&As from ACC kickoff with the Atlantic Division, Syracuse and all the teams there. And then the week after that, we have the Coastal Division. And then the week after that, I am down in Florida for Florida in Focus with some awesome things that are going to be going down. So cannot wait to bring it all to you. Very excited about it, and it's going to be great. It's going to be fantastic. So if you woke up this morning, you know, I asked my great uncle yesterday, I said, what are you most grateful for? And he said two things: family, and I woke up today. And those are the only two. He said the two things I care about: I woke up today and I have my family. So if you woke up today and you got somebody out there that loves you, blood or not, you're having yourself one heck of a day. And I hope it only gets better. And remember something, and I'm wearing this t-shirt today for a reason, to remind myself, to remind you. I want you to know this, and I want you to remember this. You are right there. Okay? You are worthy. You are worthy. You are worthy of love. You are worthy of friendship. You are worthy of success. You are worthy of fame. You are worthy of positive responses. You are worthy of love. I said love, but I'll say it again. You are worthy of love. You are worthy of success. You are worthy. Remember that. You are. You are worthy. Okay, so if you want it, go get it. Get after it. Trust in it. Believe in it. Do it. Love it. Enjoy it. Don't let anybody take away your happy. Don't let anybody take away your positive. And when people play games with you, see those games, understand those games, and move forward. Because you deserve the best life possible, and God is trying to give it to you. So don't let a clouded judgment by your own, don't let your own hang-ups and your mistakes And don't let people get in your way. Don't let anything get in your way. You have God on your side. You have God as your best friend. Nothing can defeat you. If you remember that when you go into something, you're like, ah, man, I did this. That was stupid. Or I did that. Or I did this. God's your best friend. You can't lose. You can't. He won't let you. You can't lose with God. So ask for peace. Ask for love. Ask for goodness. Ask for positivity. Ask for guidance. And you'll get it. When you don't understand something, ask for help. Have the humble attitude to ask for help. And do it. You got this. I believe in you. So today, inside of the Cafe Kubal Studios, we got a lot of great stuff coming up for you on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets that thing called life. We will be here on mixlr.com/wakeupcalldt, youtube.com/wakeupcalldt, facebook.com/wakeupcalldt, and facebook.com/livenowdt, and of course on wakeupcalldt.com, where you're tuning in live every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. You'll find us on all of these beautiful channels to watch and to listen to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. And, of course, inside these Cafe Kubal studios, you can find Cafe Kubal on 3501 James Street, 324 West Water Street, 208 North Townsend Street, 401 South Salina Street, all in Syracuse, as well as in downtown Syracuse inside of Golisano's Children's Hospital, on 343 Fayette Street in Manlius, and their newest location, which is their first ever drive-through location that you will find on the corner of Route 11 and Taft Road at Sweetheart Corners for Cafe Kubal. So, however, whichever one you choose today, make sure you let them know that Wake Up Call sent you, and have yourself a grand old time supporting a local company by simply getting a cup of Joe or your chai tea or one of their sandwiches. The Upstate is my favorite. Can also get their breakfast sandwiches, which are incredible, and all their treats. So, a lot of great stuff. Cold brew, coffee to go. They got everything. T-shirts, sweatshirts. Cafe Kubal has got you all covered. And I love that they have the drive-thru. I've been wanting them to get that drive-thru for a while, and I'm so excited about it. And I went through it on day one, so make sure you go over there to the drive-thru today and show them some love at Cafe Kubal. So with all that being stated, on today's broadcast on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, inside of MonPazPopcorn.com's What's Poppin'. On the mark today, Shamarko and I will be speaking on realignment, on the craziness. I know that people are probably like, Dan, why have you not talked about this yet? Well, I was at the ACC kickoff and doing all that work, interviewing all 14 schools, very locked in. But now it's time to lock in on this. Texas, Oklahoma, looking to leave the Big 12, are not granting media rights outside of 2025. So once the deal is done, they're not going to grant new media rights. They've been off of some calls. There's been a lot of things going on publicly, behind the scenes. We're going to talk about Texas and Oklahoma. We'll talk about what it means for the American Athletic and so much more. And what does it mean for college football as realignment is rearing its ugly head? And who would have thunk that the Big 12, that only has 10 teams and already doesn't make any sense, Big 12 with 10, the Big 10 has 14, whatever. But the Big 12 being in the situation they're in right now, that their powerhouse schools are looking to jump. And not just jump anywhere, but jump to the SEC. Are you kidding me? Why would you want to go to the SEC? Texas, Oklahoma, go to the ACC. Go to the coastal side. Play Clemson. There's a wide open shot. I don't get it. Or shake up the Big 10, but the Big 10 already has a lot of schools. Or go to the Pac-12 because they haven't sent a lot to the college football playoff. The American Athletic, the money is the issue there. But if you bring in Texas and Oklahoma and you can renegotiate with ESPN, then the American could maybe offer them more money. So there's a lot to discuss. And Shamarko, a former college football player at Syracuse, is going to discuss it with me, which I'm ecstatic about. He'll be joining us in just a couple minutes. And then we'll have at 10:15 a.m. Eastern Time, Sports Ends in a Vowel. Today, Gina Castelli and I will talk about what student-athletes should look out for in recruiting. The kind of red flags and warning signs of recruiting as a longtime coach in the world of college basketball, honesty has been very important to Gina, but it's not important to everybody. And Gina's going to talk today to student athletes about what you should look out for. So if you've got a relative that's a student athlete, make sure that they're listening today. If you're a student athlete, make sure you're listening today. You got a loved one of any kind that's a student athlete, a peer, a neighbor, make sure that you talk to them today, and then make sure you have them listen to this today, because there's some big things coming up. So definitely don't miss a moment of it, and make sure you're paying attention here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets that thing called life. Do not miss a second. Sports ends in a vowel. Big time talk for student athletes. What you should look out for in recruiting. Big conversation. We only have big conversations here. That's what we do. That's what Wake Up Call is all about. Being different, being unique, giving you something on the mark. Shamarko Thomas, bi-monthly, every other week. Gina Castelli, Sports Ends in a Vowel, every other week. Bringing you consistency, good people, making the community smaller. Everything that we do here has a dream behind it. And that's how you should live your life. You better put a dream behind it. Because if you ain't putting a dream behind it, there's nothing behind it to hold it up. Right? When you pitch a tent, you gotta drive those stakes in the ground, right? You gotta have something to hold it up. Well, treat your life like that. Your life is a tent. What are you nailing down to hold it up? Where is your foundation? Is it strong? There's a country song that says, "Are we written in the stars, or are we written in the sand?" Think about that. Are you written in the stars, or are you written in the sand? If you're written in the stars are there. If you're written in the sand changes in an instant. Water comes and washes it away. So don't be writing your dreams in the sand. Don't be writing your relationships in the sand. And don't be writing your health in the sand. Write it in the stars. Right? Foundation. We'll talk about all the good stuff coming up. Ingredients to Success. Proudly brought to you by Avicolli to round out today's show, and every Tuesday here on Wake Up Call. So, inside the Cafe Kubal studios, we'll take a step aside. We'll be back with Shamarko for On the Mark today, talking about college football realignment. Are you kidding me? I thought it was over. Definitely not Oklahoma and Texas. No way. That could never happen. Well, it looks like it is. We'll talk about it after this.
Carvel DeWitt, it's what happy tastes like. Do you know why? Because we make ice cream. Creamy, rich, flavorful ice cream. Not yogurt or iced milk like some of our competitors. Ice cream. Fresh, by hand, daily. For the calorie conscious, we have something new for you. Our new Carvelite. Same great flavor, creaminess, and texture of our regular ice cream with only 35 calories an ounce. So whether you want an ice cream cake, flying saucer, dasher, carvalanche, hard or soft ice cream, we will satisfy your craving with our fresh, handmade regular or new Carvelite ice cream. Carvel DeWitt. It's what happy tastes like.
Cafe Kubal offers same-day local delivery of our products, offering no delivery charge for Onondaga County. Shop cafekubal.com for fresh roasted coffee beans, cold brew, travel mugs, and all your essential Cafe Kubal needs. Cafe Kubal, coffee for the soul.
The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is located on 3680 Milton Avenue in the Home Depot Plaza. It is your family-friendly sports bar and restaurant. Folks, some sports bars aren't family-friendly. Some family-friendly restaurants are not sports bars. The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is proud to be both. It is that marriage that you've been looking for years. The Wildcat Sports Pub is your home base for your sports bar and restaurant needs, games for the kids, indoor and outdoor activities, and enough things on the menu to come back every single week and get to try something new. They're open Sundays from noon to 8 p.m., Monday through Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Thursday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to midnight. For reservations and party information, call 315-487-2222 for the Wildcat family-friendly sports pub and restaurant. Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on wakeupcalldt.com, your one-stop sports shop, and on mixlr.com/wakeupcalldt. We are inside of the Cafe Kubal Studios. You already know what it is, 3501 James Street, 324 West Water Street, 208 North Townsend Street, and 401 South Salina Street locations for Cafe Kubal, all in Syracuse, as well as in downtown Syracuse inside of Golisano's Children's Hospital. And, of course, you can find them on 343 Fayette Street in Manlius, and their newest location, their drive-thru location, on the corner of Route 11 and Taft Road in North Syracuse at Sweetheart Corner. So make sure you head off to Cafe Kubal today. You are on mixlr.com/wakeupcalldt, facebook.com/livenowdt, youtube.com/wakeupcalldt, facebook.com/wakeupcalldt, and so much more going on here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, of course, on wakeupcalldt.com. So, however you're tuning into the show, thank you so much. Every other week, bi-monthly, we have my guy, Shamarko Thomas, on the broadcast. Shamarko and I are like brothers, like family, and this is a beautiful excuse for us to talk every other week, but we talk much more than that. So, On the Mark is our signature segment with Shamarko Thomas, and it's with us bi-monthly on Tuesdays at 9:15 a.m. Eastern Time every other Tuesday. And Shamarko and I are here today to talk about realignment and the craziness of college football that's ensuing. But before we go there, we always, start with a positive message and talk about some bigger things. So let's bring in Mr. Shamarko Thomas. Shamarko, how you doing today?
I'm doing amazing, man. It's a blessed day. Get to tune in with my brother. I feel the energy. We're both positive and just feeling enlightened.
Yeah, man, and I want to start things off with what are you feeling? What do you want to talk about today? What's kind of on your brain, on your mind, positivity wise? What's with you this morning?
I just want to tell everybody, when you go through them dark times, remember it's not suffering. It's not you going through pain, you crying, but remember it's not suffering. It's a lesson for God to mold you and make you renew yourself and who He wants you to become. So basically, I'm saying that don't take the suffering as pain. Take it as understanding, learning. It's the process developing. Develop you to the next level because God has an amazing plan. The universe has an amazing plan for you. So that's my message to everybody today.
Yeah, the message of God has a plan. You gotta suffer. Well, it feels like you said, it's not suffering. People feel like we're suffering, we're pain, but I say this all the time. And sometimes I got to remind myself, like this morning, but the reality of remember when you were growing. And what do they call it? Growing pains. And it hurts. You'd wake up in the middle of the night, you're like, why do my legs hurt? Why does my side hurt? Why does all this stuff hurt? I remember one time laying in bed and, I was like, why am I hurting? Why am I uncomfortable? And I was growing, and it's growing pains. And we forget about that. In order for your body to grow, it has pain because it's evolving, it's growing, it's changing. So in order for you to grow and evolve and change, you have to go through pain. And we forget about it so easily in the moment because we don't want heartache. We don't want, things not to work out. We don't want things to be difficult and whatnot. But we forget about you have to have pain to grow. You have to go through that feeling of growing. Growing pains are a real thing. And we don't like them, but we need them. We don't understand them. God, why'd you send me this? God, I thought I already got this test. God, I thought I already got the message. God, I thought I already did this. But if you trust it and you believe in it, and I ask for two simple things from God pretty much daily. God, guide me toward what is good for me. Guard me from what is not. Guide and guard me. Guide and guard me. Every day, guide and guard me. And you know what? You may not like his answer, but it's the right answer. So you have to trust in it. I don't know how to tell y'all why. It's just because. Because when you go back and you look at your life and you look at all the things that you ask God for and all the people you ask God to keep in your life and all the situations you ask God to keep in your life, I made a list yesterday of all the things that I had previously asked God for. And of the 10 things I had previously asked God for, every single one of them did not bear fruit. Every single one of them were weeds in my garden. And so if God had given me what I asked for, I would have had a lot of weeds in my garden. I would have had to pull a lot of stuff. I would have had a lot of thorns. So you got to be able to, you got to ask those questions and then reflect afterward. And when you reflect afterward and you say, was this good or was this bad? And you can write down a bunch of bad stuff, then understand that, yes, pain hurts. Yes, it's not fun to go through suffering. It's not fun to go through strife. It's not fun to not get the answer you wanted. It's not fun to not get the phone call from the job or not get the phone call from the guy or the girl or not get the phone call about the house you want. It's hard to go through that, but trust me, the first house that I wanted, there was something terribly wrong with the house in the roof. And if I had taken that house could have burned down because of something that was up there. So God didn't want me to have that house. And God wanted me to have this one. And it worked out. And I don't know how to make people believe that, but if you trust in the fact of everything has a reason, everything has a season, everything has a means, you may not want the season to end. And some things are going to stay for every season. But when somebody comes in the fall and they leave in the winter, let them go. Because the true thing about life is, if you got a real one, they're never going anywhere. You got a real friend, they're not leaving during the seasons. You got a real girl, you got a real guy, they're not leaving during the seasons. You want somebody who's going to fight for you, be there for you, your family, your friends, your spouse, your girlfriend, your boyfriend. Those are the people that are supposed to be there no matter what the season is, what the weather is, what the time is. If they walk away at any given point, they're not supposed to be there. Let them go, reflect on it afterwards, and find out that it actually isn't something that you needed.
Exactly. You ask God to remove all the people that's not for you, and you'll be surprised. You know, it'll hurt in a different way, but patience is key, and understanding is key, and it makes you grow. It makes you fine-tune yourself. It makes you draw closer to God, to the universe, and really find out the amazing things that they got planned for you. So, like, the biggest key in this, and through going through the pains and the suffering, is just being patient. Understanding everything gonna be all right. Get back in tune with yourself. Love yourself. Get happy. Be happy. Get your peace, and be who you are. You know what I'm saying? Who God wants you to be, and the universe wants you to be, and everything will fall into place. Because I always say, you got big dreams, but God got something bigger and better.
Yeah, and that, what do they say? If you want to make God laugh, tell him your plans. So, yeah. And I tell people that all the time. I plan and I ad-lib. I do both. And I think you have to be a good planner in life and a better ad-libber. However good you are at planning, you got to be better at when the plan goes awry. Because listen, 35 years of being alive, my plans almost never go as planned. You might try to plan something out, but it's, things may never go as planned. You might say, hey, you know what, I'm going to give myself extra 20 minutes to get to the Dome for the game. But you hit traffic, and you think you're going to get there 15 minutes early, you get there 10 minutes late. So, you don't know what life is going to bring you. You don't know what is going to happen. You don't know how it's going to happen. You can plan out your life to the best of your ability, and God has given me so many great plans and opportunities and things that have worked out. I want to be clear about that. It's not that, nothing goes right when you plan it out. But you have to be able to ad-lib. And I caution myself when I meet people that have to plan out everything. They got to plan out their life. They got to plan out their future. They got to plan out their kids. They got to plan out their house. They got to plan out. Because that person, what they've shown me by saying that they got to do it that way, and that they think they can do it that way, and they think that God's going to do it that way, it shows me that they have really no genuine experience of what life is.
And they're not truly thankful for the small things. Like you were saying, going to the Dome is traffic. You hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
It's like going to the Dome, you say there's traffic, but you just got to be thankful that you're going to the Dome, you get to go experience watching the game or watching the basketball game. It doesn't matter what time you get there. Just know you got the ticket in your hand and be thankful for that. You know what I'm saying? So it's the small things that makes the negative things turn into positive. You can have a bad day, but find that little small thing that made your day brighter, made you smile for that little bit of second, a little bit of moment. That's the biggest key on life, Erase all the negative. If you had a negative day, find a little thing that made you smile today. If it's just waking up, taking that deep breath, being alive, having family that love you, have friends that love you, that's the thing that takes you to another level, and God will see the appreciation, and He will bless you with more.
Yeah, and that's and understand that your plan may work out, but it may not, and when it doesn't, because it's not gonna all the time, you got to be ready to ad lib. I mean, going to the ACC kickoff this past week, I had plans to, interview every team, and I did. And, I went online and I saw the schedule, and guess what? I read the wrong schedule. So I got there early. I was ready to go. I went to the bathroom. I'm standing outside. I walk inside. It had already started because I had read the wrong thing, and I said to myself, okay, well, get to your seat and get to work, young man, and do what you got to do. I could have fretted. Oh, my gosh, my plan didn't work out. I could have been frantic. I could have been nervous. No, I got down in my seat. I raised my hand. I said, I don't care who's up at that podium right now. I'm next question right here. Dan Tortora up front. Because that's what you have to do. Life is going to happen. And when it happens, put it to you like this. There's an apocalypse. World is crazy. Meteor strikes, things falling all over the place. Who do you want? You want a planner? Or you want the person that's saying, hey, you know what? I think, these are the things that I learned to survive in this type of situation. Somebody who's by the book, reading the book, they're going to die in the meteor strike. But the person that's saying, you know what I learned? If there's a fire, we should move off to here. This is what you should do here. Clothe yourself with this. This is a good shelter. This is something that I heard about. Be with the person that can ad-lib on the fly, because if I am in an apocalypse and it is the end of the world, I'm going with a person that can give a quick reaction and make a good choice in the moment. I can't have somebody sitting there trying to sift through paperwork. There is no paperwork. Everything's on fire. You got to move. I always think about that in The Walking Dead. Who would you want to be with in The Walking Dead? Somebody who is in the corner shaking, or somebody who may be shaking in the corner inside of their brain, inside of their heart, but they're standing up in real life going, yeah, this is scary. Yeah, this is crazy, but I'm going to have to find a way to live through this, to get beyond this. You don't know what life is until you get challenged by it, until you're asked to ad-lib, until you're put in a situation where it didn't go your way. And when it doesn't go your way, what are you going to do? And that makes the person. That's where your character comes out. When things don't go your way, when somebody lies to you, when you don't get the job, when you get fired, when you try to take this road and there's a detour, when there's traffic, when somebody cuts you off and you get in an accident, when something happens out of your control and you don't know what to do, it's in that moment that your character comes out. It is in that moment that you figure out how to react to it, because as my guy Shamarko told me off the air before, don't ever let another human being dictate your emotions. Don't let them change your state of being. Don't let them change who you are. Don't let anybody on this planet, off this planet, wherever, however, whenever, do not let anybody take away who you are. And don't let them, if you can walk into the world and you're happy and you're smiling and you're having a great day, and you can let somebody come into your life and change that attitude, then walk backwards, go back to bed, get up again, and try again.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I hear you today. I hear you. That's key. You are your own peace and happiness. You are your own joy and smile. You can't worry about what everybody say about you or think about you. You control what you can control, And I always go to football with that. Our coaches always preach that. Control what you can control, man. And that's in life, too. I can't be in fear that this person is going to judge me, or I might not get this opportunity. I cannot be scared to step out my comfort zone because this person or this people are going to think this is no. It's what I love, what makes me happy, and what brings me peace. And that's all I can control. I can control what other people think. And that's the key, man. And if you love yourself, you'll understand that. If you're closer to God in the universe, you'll understand that you're amazing in your own way, so be it.
Yeah, that coming here from Shamarko Thomas. On the mark here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets that thing called life. Coming to you bi-monthly every other Tuesday with Syracuse and NFL alum Shamarko Thomas. Shamarko, we talk about leaving and things changing and ad-libbing and things happening that you're not necessarily ready for. Well, that's a perfect segue into what's happening in college football. The Big 12 wasn't in their plan to lose Texas and Oklahoma. Wasn't in there.
Biggest teams in the Big 12.
Right. Wasn't their plan to do it? Wasn't their plan to lose them? Wasn't their plan to have to be put in this? Now they have to ad-lib. They have to be ready. They have to figure out what to do in this type of situation because this is today. And this is what they've been faced with. So the reality is where you have to be able and willing and capable of looking at these things and making a swift reaction. You never know. I take this like a relationship. Let's use an analogy. Texas and Oklahoma, they dedicated, right? They said, I'm going to call you, I'm going to text you, I'm going to be your girl, I'm going to be your guy, we're going to be together, we're going to make this relationship work. And the relationship looked good. And a year goes by, and 2 years go by, and 3 years go by, and 4 years go by, and all these years go by, and they say, you know what, we're going to get married, we're going to stay together. This is our relationship. We're healthy, we're strong, I love you, I appreciate you. Then you woke up one day, and Oklahoma and Texas's bags were packed, and there was a note on the kitchen counter saying, it's not you, it's me. That's what's happening to the Big 12 right now. The Big 12 thought to them, and this is the irony of the Big 12. Just a couple of years ago, I sat in the American Athletic Conference kickoff in Rhode Island, in Newport, on Goat Island. Beautiful place, beautiful weather, beautiful sunshine on the water. And the only thing that was sitting there, just the smog of it, the smog of the Big 12, is as I sat there with the American and I sat there with the commissioner, Mike Oresco, there was this air in the room because the Big 12 was looming over the American, and the Big 12 was allegedly looking to steal American Athletic Conference teams, institutions, take them into their conference. Just a couple years ago, the American was sitting there wondering, what will the Big 12 do? Will they take, they've already taken some of our coaches, will they take our teams? If they take our teams, how will we react? What will we do? And just a couple years later, how the tables have turned as the Big 12 is looking to potentially lose Oklahoma and Texas. And now conferences like the American are eyeing the Big 12 and eyeing opportunities to take schools from them. In just a couple years, the big bad wolf has somebody howling at their own door. What do you think of the irony, Shamarko, that the Big 12 was looking to snatch from the American, and now the Big 12 is reeling in trying to stay alive just a couple years later?
You see how it got worse? These guys got worse, but honestly, do you think it's the best for them financially to go there?
What, for Texas and Oklahoma to...
No, I'm talking about the AAC to the Big 12. Do you think that's a big step or a big jump?
I think the American Athletic, when the notion was that teams like UCF and SMU and Houston and whatnot, Memphis, were going to potentially leave to go to the Big 12, they would have gotten more money TV-wise, but they didn't end up leaving. Now the question is, if you go to the American's TV deal is not as high, so some of these Big 12 schools would be losing money to do it. However, the American can renegotiate with ESPN, and if they renegotiate the product with ESPN and say the product has changed, now we have Kansas State, we have Oklahoma State, or whoever they get, then they could arguably ask for more money and over time develop and grow. But if I know anything about the American Athletic Conference and Mike Oresco, no conference in college football was affected more negatively than the American Athletic Conference because it used to be the Big East. And when it was the Big East, they lost everybody. There was only 3 schools remaining. When realignment shook its ugly head years ago around, 2012.
13, 14.
Yeah. Around that time period,
After I graduated.
that is when the American Athletic Conference was the Big East, and Mike Oresco was there. They were bringing in Temple, and they lost everything. They lost everyone but South Florida, UConn, and Cincinnati. And the only team that had any representation of the actual Big East was UConn. And so you lose all of that. You're left with 3 schools. Temple's coming in, and you lose Pittsburgh, you lose Syracuse, you lose Louisville. You're reeling. You're trying to figure it out. The other teams go to the Catholic 7. Then they create the Big East. Basketball in a new conference. And Mike Oresco could have laid down dead and said, I give up, I quit. His plan didn't come through. He was bringing in Temple, and then he lost everybody except for a few schools. The American Athletic Conference didn't have a name. It didn't have a logo. It had nothing. And now we come almost a decade later, and the American Athletic Conference has 11 college football teams and the opportunity to poach from the Big 12, which was going to poach from them. My, how the tables have turned. What?
Don't give up and don't fold. Don't give up and don't fold. That's the definition. Like, they didn't give up, they didn't fold. They had a plan, and even though it was tough through them times, losing people, and they see how it works now.
Yeah, and you know what? And that is a perfect statement. Don't give up and don't fold, because they didn't. They kept believing in themselves. They kept believing in the promise that if you did things the right way and you worked your butt off. I remember those first moments. I remember covering the conference before it had a logo and a name. I remember how hectic it was. Mike Oresco's days, I would imagine, were darker than anybody else's because no other conference had been hurt as much. No other conference had been gutted as much. They lost their name, they lost their logo, and they lost everything but just a couple teams, and they were left to try and build. He could have easily let those 4 teams go. He could have easily packed up, got a different job, and said whatever. But he fought, and they brought in Tulane and Tulsa and UCF, and they brought in Navy, who had been independent for over 100 years, and they brought in Memphis, and they brought in SMU, and they just kept bringing these teams in, and now they stand here today with an opportunity to potentially bring in the Big 12 teams that came from a conference that was going to potentially take from them. You know, Shamarko, that to me, like we've been talking about this morning, Mike Oresco had every reason to give up. He had every reason to give in. Nobody had been affected as badly as this conference. He had every single reason to just lay down and be a doormat, and he stood up, dusted himself off, put a conference together, put 12 teams together, put divisions together, put a championship together, and now with 11 teams with UConn leaving, he has a chance to make the brand of the American even better because he never gave up on himself. I don't know if there's a better success story in college football. I know everybody's paying attention to the SEC and the ACC all the time, but I don't know if there's a better success story coming out of realignment than a conference led by a man who refused to give up, refused to give in, and when every single one of his plans were ripped to shreds and thrown into an incinerator, he stood there and said, well, then we're going to make plan C. Okay, now we're going to make plan X, plan Y, plan Z. And now he's one of those people sitting in his chair right now saying to himself, my conference is fine, and it has the opportunity to get even better. I just find it amazing that I told him a long time ago, keep doing what you're doing, you believe in yourself, you're a good person, it's all going to work out. And look at what's happening.
Hey, you have faith, you know what I'm saying? You keep working hard, keep your head down, things happen. But do you think that's going to be a chance for a lot of people just knowing Oklahoma, you know, and Texas trying to transfer her, West Virginia trying to get to the ACC? Like, what do you think about that process? What if other teams want to go somewhere else? Like, how's that going to work financially? I heard Oklahoma and Texas got to try to the legal pay is $75 to $80 million to get out their contract.
Yeah, you know, and that's so the grants of media rights. Oklahoma and Texas have refused to renew them after their expiration in 2025. And so with that being stated, if you want to get out of the Big 12, every conference has their own laws. And when Syracuse, Louisville, and Pittsburgh joined the ACC, when they joined the conference, the ACC boosted up everything and said, okay, in realignment, we're going to take these teams in and we're going to make it even more difficult to leave. So just hypothetically, if our money's like $20 million, now we're going to make it 30 to get out. Well, if you want to get out of the Big 12, and that was a hypothetical number, but if you want to get out of the Big 12, the actual number is $75 to $80 million penalty for leaving early. They have to give 18 months notice. For those of you playing the home game, that's a year and a half. So to give a year and a half's notice, if they're doing it right now here in July, which is ironic because teams transition from conferences on July 1st typically. So giving this in July, we could say to ourselves that by next December, Oklahoma and Texas, if they would like to, and the SEC would like to have them, they would be a part of the SEC. by December 2022. And here's my question back to you. So money-wise, you asked me about that. What is the thought on that? Well, I think, like most schools, they will negotiate. And so they might say, okay, we need 18 months and $75 to $80 million, but we're going to be a sitting duck for the next 4 years. The teams don't want us here. You don't want us here. We don't want to be here. So how about we give you $65 million apiece and you let us leave next July? And so instead of 18 months, it's 12 months. And, instead of waiting until 2025, it's going to be this. But then the media rights, the first and second tier media rights, not the third tier, but the first and second for Oklahoma and Texas would still belong to the Big 12 unless they negotiated that legally. The third tier rights where the Longhorns can have their own network, that still belongs to them.
And I heard about that too. Texas trying to get it done in 2022, and if it's like prolonged, they're going to shop themselves somewhere else. Like who got the best academics, qualities, and stuff like that.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing. If I'm Oklahoma or I'm Texas, I'm not going to the SEC. If I'm Oklahoma or I'm Texas, I'm going to the Pac-12 because the Pac-12 doesn't really have anything to threaten you. Washington went to the college football playoff once and got embarrassed by Alabama. Oregon flopped last year when they could have done something. So, to me, if you go football-wise, and I mean, what'd you say?
You said the SEC, yeah.
What? Yeah, I'm saying if you're Oklahoma and you're Texas and you go to the SEC, you're never getting out of there alive.
How you know they're not trying to prove themselves? That's the NFL college, and I feel like it's gonna be hard a couple of years, because it's just a different size, bigger lineman, and they play a different type of ball. But I feel like they're doing that to build. They still got first round and stuff, but now it can solidify itself as, oh, we can play against these big dogs every day. You know what I'm saying? We can compete. Because I feel like when I was in college, we played in the Big East, but I always wanted to play the big dogs every time because it's like, I can be this first rounder. I can be this. I can play against these boys. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, it's more marketing. It's going to make it the environment more crazy. You know what I'm saying? You get the Texas, you get the Alabamas. You know what I'm saying? I feel like it's a different part. They always meet each other anyway.
Well, yeah, I mean, and I think, but if you look at it in this situation, by joining this conference, they're never going to get, if they were to join the SEC, they're never going to get out of it. Not being a part of the SEC gives them a chance to play that team at the end, but you have Texas A&M is better. You have Alabama. You have LSU. You have Florida is better. You have Georgia. You have Auburn. You can argue right now in the college football playoff with 4 teams that all 4 of those teams should be from the SEC. Outside of Clemson, you can argue all those teams should be from the SEC. So the way that I look at it right now, if I'm Oklahoma or I'm Texas and I jump into the SEC, instead of being 12-0, 11-1, 10-2, now I'm going to be 8-4, 7-5. So I'm never going to get out of it. I'm not going to the college.
Because the recruiting process changed. The kids that wanted to go to Alabama, but they know it's hard to start as a freshman, they go to Texas. You know what I'm saying? I feel like that will give more kids opportunities to variety. You know what I'm saying? They can play in that competition level. I feel that. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I could have, if Syracuse in the SEC, like, I definitely, I'm saying like basically if Syracuse went to the SEC, I know we're not going to be as good, but them guys that is going to Alabama, coming to Alabama, but they see that 5-star or whatever there, and it's like, man, I'm about to sit. They got this first rounder here in my position. I can go here in Texas or Syracuse to compete, and I'm still in the SEC, and I still can compete against these guys. So I feel like the recruitment's going to help us.
Yeah, I mean, I think recruitment's going to help, but Texas and Oklahoma have storied programs already, and I think recruitment wise, I mean, yeah, it could. I mean, anything could help being in the SEC, but at the same time, everybody's got to go through Alabama, and you're not going to get through Alabama 9 times out of 10.
Miracles happen. What did you just say about the AAC? It was that what situation?
Right.
Things changed.
Right. But I mean, I think the SEC is already stacked. I think if I'm Texas or I'm Oklahoma, I do no. Like if I'm Texas or if I'm Oklahoma, I'm going to the Pac-12 Because if I go to the Pac-12, I can beat up on a lot of those teams. If I'm going to the Pac-12, I can beat Oregon. What?
Why take the easy road out? Why not put yourself in that fire?
Because they want to be in the college football playoff and they want to be undefeated before they go to the postseason.
But you gotta go through stuff. Like you gotta go through how you become the best. You know what I'm saying? You play against them every time. You know what I'm saying? How you think Alabama and the Floridas and all them boys in the SEC become great NFL players because they've been playing with pros the whole time. They've been playing against this first rounder. They've been playing against this guy. And I'm not saying Texas no got them same guys, but now I'm putting myself in the flames. I'm gonna see where I'm at. If I'm not there yet this year, maybe next year. You know what I'm saying? Maybe next year. They're trying to change the competitive nature. You know what I'm saying? Like, we want these big dogs. We want to see where we at. You know what I'm saying? It might not go good first year. It's like Syracuse. When I first got to Syracuse, it was real tough going from an undefeated high school team to losing every week. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But when you build the camaraderie, you build and you understand the process, like they might go through it the first year, but then they're going to start to understand what it takes to be in the SEC. You know what I'm saying? When you get hit in the face, when your back against the wall, either you're going to fold or you're going to figure it out. And I feel like that's what they're trying to do is like, man, we can compete with these dudes daily. You know what I'm saying? We can adjust. We can fight through this. It might be bad and turmoil at first. We might get ourselves beat down so bad. We might have bad records, but I feel like the end outcome, we're going to be them dogs. We're going to be top. You know what I'm saying?
Well, and speaking here with Shamarko Thomas in our bi-monthly special every other Tuesday at 9:15 a.m. Eastern Time on the mark with Syracuse and NFL alum Shamarko Thomas here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Cafe Kubal studio. Speaking about college football realignment, I get it. I get where you're coming from. You wanna be the best. You got to beat the best. You got to be in there. I'm looking at it and saying to myself, money-wise, there's nowhere better for them to go. Exposure-wise, there's nowhere better for them to go. Recruiting-wise, there's nowhere better for them to go. But trying to get out of this thing alive, there's a lot of other places for them to go. So, like, that's how I see it.
How you think Kobe and them became the greatest? Playing against the Jordans, getting beat up on, missing his first year, missing game shots, you know what I'm saying? Missing shots after shots. You're going to get beat up on, but if you're a competitor, you're going to figure it out. It's going to be some dogs like, man, I want to go to Texas so we can go beat these Alabama. I want to join up here. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. I want to figure this out. Like, so I feel like the object of sports anyway is competitiveness. You know what I'm saying? If you're not a competitor, why play a sport? You know what I'm saying? Why play? Because I don't compete to play against, you know what I'm saying, the average person or the, you know what I'm saying, who you know you can step on. I want to go play against them big dogs that think they just top. I'm top too, so I feel like it's gonna make them better. They get their beating, get the bumps and bruises, like life. How do you in your life? How did you learn any process in life, going through them bumps and bruises, them trials and tribulations, and then you came out on top, right?
Yeah.
So you gotta go through and they're willing to go through that. You know what I'm saying? With all means, even breaking some of their history of going to the playoffs and all that stuff, they're willing to take that chance. They know at the end of the day, we can mold into this. We can get the right coaches, we can get the right players, we get the right market. You know what I'm saying? And they're going to be calling us the NFL team too. You know, we competing against them. So y'all cannot tell us we're not the same. You know what I'm saying? Everything takes a process. You know what I'm saying? Like, I always talk about Belichick. You know what I'm saying? He was at the Browns. You know what I'm saying? Now look at him now. You know what I'm saying? Tom Brady, he was late draft pick. But look at him now. You know what I'm saying? It's just, you got to go through the fire to get the light at the end.
Yeah, and you and I don't shy away from this stuff. And so, we would go out there and do that. We would go play in the SEC. We would go make it happen. I'm saying, as they go now, if they're looking for a way to the top, it's going to be really difficult. But, again, college football playoff expansion, see how the chips fall, people. Right? What did they say? We're not expanding till 2035. Blah, blah, blah. I kept saying it's not enough. You got a quote-unquote Power 5, and you got the American knocking on the doors of Power 6, Cincinnati and UCF, and here you are with 4 spots, and every year it's the same thing. It's Alabama, another SEC team, Clemson, and then one spot is open for the 3 conferences, the Big 12, the Pac-12, the Big 10. It's not fair. You can't have a Power 5, arguably Power 6 with only 4 spots, and you're going to give two of them to one conference. So all of a sudden, we can't expand. We can't expand for 10 years. We can't expand. Nobody's going to want to expand. Yeah, okay. And then all of a sudden, where to come out of nowhere, out of left field, right before we had ACC kickoff and all these media days for the conferences, what happened? We're going to have realignment. We're going to expand the college football playoff to 12. Why did they say they're going to expand to 12? Why did Greg Sankey of the SEC? Why is everybody okay with it? Because Sankey knew he was getting Oklahoma and Texas potentially. So it's good for him, because if you get 12, now the SEC is going, we're going to get 5 teams in there. We're going to get 6 teams in there. Why would these conferences be okay from going from 4 to anything, 4 to 12? Because people knew the chips were falling before the chips fell. People, as Shamarko told me before, follow the bouncing ball. Keep your eyes open. Look at the entire room. Don't just look at one part of the room. Don't look at one corner. Look at the whole room. When you're staring at the room, I said this before, the American Athletic Conference can bang on that door and bang on that door and bang on that door, and nobody's going to let them into the college football playoff. The only way they're going to get in, UCF's best friend, Cincinnati's best friend, SMU's best friend, Memphis's best friend, Navy's best friend is who? The Power 5. Why? Because if enough of those teams complained, if the Pac-12 said, you know what, we've only been there once. We've only been there once in 5 years. If the Big Ten said this isn't fair, if the Big 12 said this isn't fair, it's not fair. It's always Clemson. It's always Alabama. It's always the SEC. If they were the ones that were going to make it happen, all you had to do was get Penn State, Oregon, Washington, Stanford, Oklahoma, Texas pissed off enough to say we need more than 4 spots, and then the American Athletic Conference benefits from that. Why? Because the big brother helped out the little brother by accident, and I don't think the American's a little brother, but whatever, they call him that. They helped them out by accident by moaning. I said this years ago. The only way the American Athletic gets in the college football playoff is if the quote-unquote Power 5 get pissed off enough that there's not enough spots for everybody at the table, and there's 5 of them, and there's only 4, and 2 of them go to the SEC. So that was all it was going to take. So they complain, it gets bigger, and as it's getting bigger, the SEC is expanding, and the Big 12 may be no more. Folks, understand something. If you think that realignment and the college football playoff expansion had nothing to do with each other, you have no idea about backdoor deals. This thing was being made months ago, and I know from conversations that this thing was churning before it was churning. And why did it break during kickoff time? Why did it break when the media was all in a room? Folks, things don't happen coincidentally. You don't break Oklahoma and Texas leaving the Big 12 on a media day the morning of, okay? You don't have somebody not join a phone call when every other member of the conference is on the phone call. Follow the bouncing ball. Realignment exists and college football playoff exists because times are changing and there wasn't enough spaces. And now we are where we are, and the Big 12 is left holding the bag right now. And if they're not careful, there may not be a Big 12 after this.
That's real. That's real. They better, man. They better get to it. They better get to it, man. But you said it right, man. This was already planned. You know what I'm saying? They said it to make it look like, oh, it's a shocker, breaking news. But no, this is already planned behind the scenes. You know. I think the SEC, they just trying to build a NFL conference type caliber, you know what I'm saying? Because, like, you know, I've been in the NFL, and all them guys, you know what I'm saying, Alabama, Florida's, and they play against the best, but you're going to play against the same guys in the NFL because, you know, they're going to get the top dogs to go in the NFL. So Texas want a taste of that. Oklahoma want a taste of that. Like, so I can prepare myself to get that same situation when I get in the NFL. Oh, I can compete with these dudes every time, every year. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like that's the ultimate goal. You know what I'm saying? More money, more marketing, more exposure. Because who ain't watching SEC?
Yeah.
Who ain't?
Yeah. But that's the thing. When you look at this now with the Big 12, okay, Oklahoma, Texas leaves. Let's say that. Remember something, folks. Right before realignment went bananas, the Big East was bringing in TCU. Now, the remnants of the Big East is the American Athletic Conference. Born out of that, Now the American Athletic Conference has an opportunity to call TCU and say, you were going to come with us back in the day, and we have Texas schools now. We got Houston, we got SMU, so they can call TCU and say, we almost had that deal done. They can call Baylor, they can call Texas Tech, and here's the other thing to recognize and understand. Again, follow the bouncing ball. The American Athletic Conference left Providence, Rhode Island. That's where their office were. That's where they were. Where did they just move their office to? Irving, Texas. Where is the Big 12? Where are these schools? And they just moved during a pandemic, and they have SMU and they have Houston, so now they can call who? Baylor, Texas Tech, as well as TCU, who are right there. They can go and meet with the brass of those 3 Texas schools right now from in-state. Why would they move to Texas from Rhode Island? Folks, sit here with me and just hold my hand and let's walk down this road together. The American Athletic Conference, well, they don't have as much money. It doesn't matter. If this conference is floundering and the 2 top teams are leaving and everybody's trying to figure out where to do and where to go and what to happen, the fact that TCU was already in talks of joining the old Big East and was there to do it, and they backed out of it when teams left, now there's an opportunity. Look at where they are now. Teams are leaving and they back out. So teams are leaving the Big 12. If they back out of this like they backed out of the Big East, now they have an opportunity to join the American, become the 12th school, be the 3rd team in Texas. Texas Tech is a team that could be helpful going somewhere else. Kansas State, they can be helped by this. Baylor can be helped by this. So, and Baylor already knows the American Athletic because they poached Matt Rule from Temple. So the reality of this is, and I know people are going to fight me on this, the American doesn't make as much money. Yeah, okay, but this is what it is. The American puts it on the table. What they do on the field in college football is impressive. It's better than not being a part of the Power 5 and being a Group of 5 BS, which is not what they are. They can make more money. If they turn around and say, okay, you know what, we got TCU, we got this, that, and the other, we got 12 teams. The Big 12 is part of the Autonomous 5. They're part of the Power 5. ESPN, if there's no Big 12, that frees up a ton of money. It frees up a ton of money. So the American can go and say, you know what? We got 1 or 2 schools, 3 schools from the Big 12. This is the new contract. ESPN, and everybody's saying the American doesn't make as much as the Big 12. If there's no Big 12, there's all money freed up. When that money is freed up with the Big 12 network and all this stuff, when all of that money is freed up from ESPN, you don't think 1 million, 2 million, 5 million, 10 million, 20 million can't go to the American? The American Athletic Conference is in a place right now to boost themselves up. It took almost a decade to do it, but Mike Oresco and I stood there one day and I said, you're a redheaded stepchild, I'm a redheaded stepchild. We're going to walk through this thing together, arm in arm. And I told him, keep fighting, keep believing in your dreams. You're creating something new, I'm creating something new, and we're going to have to go out there and we're going to have to sell this thing. He knows how to sell. He's worked at CBS. He's done the Army-Navy game. He knows what the heck he's doing, and there's a reason why he's stuck around. I'm telling you right now, folks, if your biggest argument about the American is that they don't have enough money to go around, well, if there's no Big 12 and you can renegotiate your deal and ESPN's got millions of dollars that are now freed up and open in their bank account, they're going to put it somewhere, and they can put a little bit of that with you.
Bringing in them teams going to boost up the market anyway. It just, that's insane. I'm happy for the AAC, man. That is good. That's good, man. He stuck it in, and it's coming out the way he expected. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is already game plan, though. You already know behind the scenes this is already the process.
Yeah, I mean, how did everything just work? This conference moves to Texas. This team comes over here. Realignment's getting pushed forward out of nowhere. But, back in the day, man, speaking here with Shamarko Thomas on Wake Up Call for On the Mark, our signature bi-monthly segment on Tuesdays at 9:15 a.m. Eastern Time inside the Cafe Cabal studio. Looking at this, back in the day, there were, 4 major conferences. Back in the day, there were super conferences. I interviewed the commissioner of the SoCon, the Southern Conference, and the history of the Southern Conference that I think just celebrated 100 years. The history of the Southern Conference was that they had pieces of the SEC and pieces of the ACC. So it's funny how the world works. I tell people all the time, never get rid of something that you like. right? If you like overalls and they're out of style, they'll come back. Vinyl records, they came back. Listen, if a fanny pack can come back, anything can come back. Anything in the world can come back. If I dated a girl who wears a fanny pack, and I'm sitting here thinking to myself, how in the world did these things come back? They were big when I was a kid at the arcade. How are fanny packs back? But I'm telling you right now, this world is funny and it is cyclical. It started with 4 major conferences, it turned into 1 billion, and now it's going back to super mega conferences. This is something that is cyclical. Nobody ever thought that this could happen again. And look at this. If the SEC, which is already stacked, if they get Oklahoma and Texas, or even just Oklahoma, if they get that and they build even more, now you got a mega. Now you got essentially an NFL. You got the NFL and you got NFL 2, which is the SEC.
NFL conference.
Right, you got an NFL conference. And then you got no Big 12. The Pac-12 is going to have to figure out how to merge what to do. The American goes up. The ACC maybe takes in West Virginia, builds that rivalry back with Pittsburgh and Syracuse. And then Notre Dame's going to be real and trying to figure out what to do. And Notre Dame has already been brought up about joining the ACC because what did I say last year when they joined it for the Corona year? If you get somebody to sign the dotted line, you know what they know what it feels like to sign. You got them to do it once. Now it's easier to get them to do it twice. Commissioner of the ACC, Jim Phillips, said at the event I was just at last week, yes, we are not modest about it. We are not shy about it. We talk to them about joining. We're very open about Notre Dame doing it, and because they've already done it before, it's going to feel easier to do it again. You get somebody to sign on a contract for advertising for 2 weeks, then you can get them for a month, then you can get them for 6 months, then you can get them for a year. Trust me, folks, the world of college sports is changing, and if you thought that, Notre Dame's always going to be independent. Navy was always independent. Well, the SEC can't get any better. The SEC is getting better. Well, the Big 12 is better than the American Athletic. The Big 12 is only going to have 8 teams. The American has 11, and the Big 12 is floundering right now. They have 8 schools. So look at reality. These conferences are going back. It is cyclical. Time is kind of resetting itself. And we may have super conferences again. We may have these giant mega competitive conferences. You know that the ACC is probably going to be open to bringing somebody else in because Clemson's been the only top team and nobody else has really fought them. What'd you say?
Bring it. I said bring that West Virginia competition to the ACC.
Yeah. But
that trophy.
And I had one guy saying he's not giving up his cargo shorts. Man, me neither. Because they're in. And you know what? I wore jean shorts, and I dated this girl down in Florida, and she goes, "You're wearing jorts?" I said, "What the hell are jorts?" And she said, "Jean shorts." And she made fun of me for it. And you know what? I kept going. I kept living life. And then I dated a girl who wore jean shorts, and I was like, you know what? I knew it. I knew that girl was messing. I knew she was messing with me. I knew there's other girls that appreciate jean shorts. So I'm going to tell you for real, jean shorts, Oshkosh, overalls, fanny packs, vinyl records, freaking original Nintendo. Bro, I'm telling you right now, people are buying arcade setups and putting these arcade joystick things in their house. We are creatures of going backward. I'm sorry. We're not creatures of going backward. I don't want to tell anybody to go backward. Never go backward. We are creatures of cyclical. We are cyclical creatures. We go to those things that it's just, this should not be blowing your mind, folks. This should not be blowing your mind. College football it's going back to mega conferences, 12-team playoff. Times are changing, and I hope the American gets at least 1 or 2, if not 3 teams. And just, man, wouldn't that be funny, covering the American for a decade and people saying that's a puny little thing, who cares, why do you cover it, it doesn't matter, and then me turning around looking at them with 10 years of experience with the conference, doing that little grin that I do, going, I'll see you during college football playoff season. Because you never know. When Dabo Sweeney stepped to the mic for Clemson when he was the wide receivers coach and they hired him to be the head coach and nobody knew who the heck he was, he said, I'm going to turn this team into a champion. I'm going to make this a champion contender. And he was laughed at. He was laughed at in the press conference. And now he's considered the best coach in college football next to Nick Saban.
No, he real deal.
So So the reality is, as Dabo will tell you with his faith, if you are faithful and you do things the right way and you work your butt off, if you put in the effort, the enthusiasm, the faith, the trust, the hope, if you do things with morals and values, you work your butt off, you use your talents to your advantage, and you be the best you can be, things will eventually work out. And I'm telling you right now, go back and play the tape. When all this stuff comes through, go back and play my tape from the last 3 years. And I'll tell you, I was right, and I was right. Good people do eventually advance. They do eventually get there. And if you think that all this stuff is happening by chance and it's all happening by coincidence, I would gladly ask you, why would teams move from here to here? Why would they go to Texas? Why would this happen? Why would this shift? Why would this person say this at this time? Why would this deal go through at this time? Things are happening right now, and you have to either understand that the wave is coming and learn how to ride it, or you're going to get taken under by the wave. It's your choice.
Gotta adjust. You think they gotta do with a lot the athletes getting paid now because they jump into a bigger market, more exposure, more money? You think that got a lot to do with it too?
You know, I think that with name, image, and likeness, college football playoff expansion, and realignment, I mean, all this stuff is together. And I think with name, image, and likeness, you know, what conferences are realizing is they're probably going to have a central message. When I spoke with John Swofford, the old ACC commissioner, when I spoke with him a couple times about this, I said to him, you guys are called the Power Five, which is a media term. Yes, okay. And I said, but the autonomy group is a legislative term. That's a legal term. Autonomy, by definition, means self-governing body. So I said to him, well, you already have full cost of attendance. You have recruiting stuff. You have all these things that are rules that are separate from other teams in college football, Division I, AA, Division II, Division III. So if you're in Division 1A as well. So if you're in the autonomy group, and by definition, autonomy means self-governing body, you don't call yourself that by accident. So if you're a self-governing body within the NCAA, what you're essentially saying to the NCAA is, we govern ourselves under you. So you think that you're our boss, but we actually make the decision. So I said to John Swofford, if you're under the NCAA but you're autonomous, then essentially you're telling the NCAA we're only here for as long as we want to be because we have control over ourselves. I said, have you met with other commissioners about the thought of leaving? And he told me years ago when we were sitting at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn for the ACC men's basketball tournament, he said, Dan, it's not off the table. It's not like it's going to happen tomorrow, but it's something that we talk about. At any given time, the Pac-12, the Big 12, the Big 10, the ACC, and the SEC can leave. They're the autonomy group. The American to strike now and to jump into this, if the Big 12 dissolves or becomes a shell of itself, the American tries to jump in. They want to be a part of this autonomy group. They've wanted to be a part of this autonomy group. If they get into this thing, and you got the SEC, the ACC, the Pac-12, and the Big 10 all in this, then what you're going to see, I think, eventually, is they're going to leave the NCAA in the dust. They're going to start their own body, and these conferences are going to move on, and everybody's going to be left there. The autonomy statement, the name autonomy in and of itself, should have told everybody that eventually, not maybe, not if, not some per chance, but definitely at some point, beyond most reason of a doubt, the conferences that are autonomous would be exactly that, and they would leave the NCAA. I have been talking about this for a very long time, and all the chips are falling for you to either get on the ship or not get on the ship. But when that ship sails, the NCAA is not going to exist the way that we know it. They're not going to be able to handle name, image, and likeness. The autonomy group is already self-governing, and they're going to take college football where they want to take it, because college football is not run by the NCAA. It's run by the college football playoff. And the college football playoff is separate from the NCAA. The ship has already sailed. The things have already changed. Mark Emmert, the head of the NCAA, the president of the NCAA, has already said last year during Corona, I have no control over institutions. I have no control over conferences in college football. I'm not a czar. I can't tell anybody who can play or who can't play. So he's already admitted that he's the president of nothing. And they have autonomy, and the college football playoff runs the college football postseason. So as far as I'm concerned, you bring in name, image, and likeness to this, you take away amateur status, plus realignment, and you expand the college football playoff, the NCAA, as I said 4 years ago, 5 to 10 years from now, they won't exist the way that they used to if they exist at all. Well, we're heading toward that 5-year mark, and everything is set up to have the NCAA not look like it used to, and I don't even know how they're going to survive this one.
That's crazy. That's crazy when you broke it down. I pray for him. That's all you can do.
Yeah, man. We live in it, man. We live in a listen, college football. You know, they say who run the world, girls. Well, who runs sports? College football. And you know, college football, they run it. They run it back. So I mean, this is where we're at right now. The teams in the Big 12, besides Oklahoma and Texas, Oklahoma State, Iowa State, TCU, West Virginia, Kansas State, Texas Tech, Baylor, and Kansas. It would make sense. I mean, the American would make sense that they would call TCU. Would also make sense that they would maybe call an Iowa State or a Baylor and a Texas Tech. West Virginia would make sense within the ACC. And then, you know, Kansas and Kansas State. Kansas, because of the way that they play basketball, maybe they would make sense in a Big Ten type of situation. Could be interesting for them. Their football team is not really relevant. And Iowa State would make sense to go to the Big Ten and put themselves in that type of situation. And then the Pac-12 could be definitely aided by Oklahoma State and some of these other teams in here. So I would imagine football-wise, the Pac-12 and the American are going to make the big pitches to these Big 12 schools. And I think, you know, West Virginia has a shot of going to the ACC. But if they do, they would have to absorb another team in order to stay even in conference, being 8-8 in division. So I would imagine if they pull a West Virginia, that they would maybe look to pull a team like Texas Tech or something of that respect at that point. But if you're thinking about all sports within the school, the ACC already having Duke, North Carolina, Syracuse, and Louisville, and so on and so forth, it would make grandiose sense for the ACC to go after Kansas, make them the best conference in college basketball for men's Division I, and then have Kansas be the team that everybody beats up on in football.
That's smart, though. Yeah, you're right.
And Syracuse would love it because Syracuse wouldn't be the worst team in the ACC anymore. It would be Kansas.
Hold on. No, we're going to come back, man. They're gonna get it right, man.
I hope so. But by record right now, they are the worst team.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I just came down my Syracuse. I love them. Go Orange.
Yeah. So, I mean, but that's where we're sitting at right now. A lot of stuff, a lot of realignment talk, a lot of craziness. Don't count out the American. Don't count out. I mean, the Big 12 says they're going to be fine. I don't think so. But if I had to put my money on it right now, I would say the Americans got a shot of getting at least one of the teams. They only need one to get to 12. I think the ACC's got a shot. I think the Pac-12 might take a lot of the Big 12 right there. And the Big 10 might end up with something, but I don't know. But ultimately, all Shamarko and I did this morning was open the door for a billion other conversations, which we will have as time goes on. And if you know anything about me in this show, I think this is the most energetic, emotional, charged morning I've had in a long time because I have a lot of thoughts about this. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the fact that my heart rate is dangerously high right now. So, Shamarko, as always, I appreciate it, man, and I'm sorry that I know I kind of went at it this morning. Do you have any final notes? I don't want to keep you from saying something.
Oh, no, it was all good, man, and just be ready for the involvement of college football, man, and it's for the best. You can see it's, the way you explain it's coming out for the best, and that's just life, man. Everything keeps climbing higher, and the market's going to get bigger, and like for me, like you said earlier, college football is the most seen market in the game, man, in these sports. Like when I was in NFL, I see NFL players watching college football all day. So all you're doing is making it better. You know what I'm saying? Draw more attention to it and draw more competition. So it's all about competition in sports and all about thriving in adverse situations. So I'm ready to see the change.
Yeah, man. And we will see where change gonna come. But what does it say in the Bible? That the door that God opens, no man can close. So we'll see what doors open. We'll see what doors shut. We'll see what happens. But shout out to the American for never giving up. I love it. Let's go, baby. Go to work, Mike Oresco. Go to work. So I'm excited. I'm in it right now. So, but no, I like seeing good people succeed. So hopefully all goes well. And my best to Bob Bowlesby as well, too, of the Big 12. I don't want to see anybody not succeed. So I hope he can figure something out. I hope Mike can figure something out. I hope everybody can. And the SEC is going to be fine no matter what. So with that being said, Shamarko Thomas on the mark, bi-monthly, every Tuesday, 9:15 a.m. Eastern Time, exclusively on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Cafe Kubal studios. And with that being said, man, I appreciate you, and I love you, and I look forward to talking with you soon.
I love you too, bro, man. Peace and blessing to everybody. Have a blessed day. Remember, man, if you can come out here and get your mind right and not worry about everybody else and work hard, focus, and dedicate, you can do anything. Look at the AAC, man. You can't give up when the hard times come. You got to keep pushing, keep that mustard seed of faith, and strive through everything. So that's my word for the day, man. It's all love. I thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah, man. Always. And I look forward to talking with you soon, okay?
Yes, sir, man.
All right, take care.
You too, bro.
Thanks, man. That coming from Shamarko Thomas, here where sports meets that thing called life. We'll take a step aside, come back with Gina Castelli inside of the Cafe Kubal studio. Sports ends in a vowel. Two Italians talking about sports and recruiting right after this. In these unique times, there are those in our community that give us a sense of normalcy and positivity. Pizza Man on 50 Oswego Street in Baldwinsville has been here for you for over 35 years and is here now. Call 315-638-1234 or order online at pizzamanbville.com to bring those familiar tastes into your home. And remember to come see our monthly on-site broadcasts centered around the community and our Baldwinsville Bees. Pizza Man in Baldwinsville. Any way you slice it, they are always here for you.
I had a deep feeling that God wanted me to do something bigger with my life and to help people, help others. He kept putting Chick-fil-A in my life, and I realized as I was going through the franchise selection process that positively impacting the lives of others was really core to what we do here at Chick-fil-A. First of all, it starts with the food. The food is brought in fresh daily. We bring in local produce. We prepare to order in the kitchen. We hand bread our chicken. We hand spin our milkshakes. It's great food. It doesn't taste like fast food. I think the second thing is the way people feel when they come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. It's different. We try to treat people with intentional kindness here, which is very different and deeper than good customer service. And so I think it feels remarkable for most people to come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. And then lastly, the impact that we try to have in the community is very different. It's a big part of the expectation of every operator of a Chick-fil-A restaurant is that they're actively engaged in their community, they're a leader in the community, and they're making a difference. When they realize that what we're striving to do is to shine a little light in their life, that's a very, very different experience than you will have in any other quick service restaurant. And it's that remarkable experience that I think people will emotionally connect with.
I'm George Townsend of Honda City with some good advice when buying a new car. The true cost of owning a new car is determined by the appraised value when you trade it. No vehicle appraises higher than a Honda. Next, look for low APRs and deep discounts. You also want low maintenance costs and great fuel economy. That's why my advice to you is to buy a new Honda. Looking pre-owned, visit our Honda Certified Used Car Center. Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard, Liverpool, or HondaCity-CNY.com.
It would be a pity if you don't shop at Honda City.
This is Jimmer Sikowski, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Cicero, 7916 Brewerton Road in Cicero, right in front of the Home Depot. Our corporate purpose at Chick-fil-A is to glorify God by being faithful stewards of all that's entrusted to us and to positively influence all those who come in contact with Chick-fil-A. And what became increasingly clear from our success in Cicero is that people love Chick-fil-A. And also I think we recognized that, we had a great opportunity to grow the brand and grow our platform. I felt incredibly grateful when I was selected to be a Chick-fil-A operator. I think what it's meant for me, what I've come to realize on a very deep level is that this is a calling for me. It's not a career. It's not a job. The Lord called me to be a Chick-fil-A operator and to use these restaurants to glorify Him and to positively influence other people. I'm blessed. I'm very blessed.
Head to Chick-fil-A Clay on 3974 State Route 31 in Liverpool, New York. Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on wakeupcalldt.com, your one-stop sports shop, and on mixlr.com/wakeupcalldt, hanging out with you inside of the Cafe Kubal studios, and of course Cafe Kubal all over Central and Upstate New York, 3501 James Street, 324 West Water Street, 208 North Townsend Street, 401 South Salina Street, all in Syracuse, and inside of Golisano's Children's Hospital, which we want to thank for all the work they do for our kids, and I'm praying for miracles today for all those children and all those families that need it. God bless each and every single one of you. And, of course, the 343 Fayette Street in Manlius and their newest drive-through location. And I was one of the first people in line at the drive-through when they opened at the corner of Route 11 and Taft Road at Sweetheart Corners in North Syracuse. I got my chai there, and they had me set and ready to go. So, with that being said, it is time to get to our other bi-monthly segment that we do exclusively here on Wake Up Call. You will find this no place else. I can promise you that, because Gina Castelli, from 8 years ago to now, has been extremely loyal, been a great friend, been a great coach, a great person in our community. And Sports Ends in a Vowel is my excuse to have her on twice a month. So she is here with us this morning to talk about the fantastic topic of what recruits should look out for, what student athletes should be wary of when they're being told all these things in recruiting. So a great conversation for everybody to listen into, and always great to talk about life in general with a fellow Italian who knows what it's all about. So let's bring her in, Miss Gina Castelli. How are we doing today?
I'm doing well, Dan. Thank you for having me again. Appreciate you. And it's great to be here. I'm actually outside today, so it's nice, beautiful day in Albany.
Yeah, and the thing I was going to ask you that, I'm hearing these birds chirping. I'm like, are you in paradise? I mean, are you out there right now? I'm just out in Hawaii. There was a hummingbird that went by. We're doing a pig roast in a little while. It sounds like you're literally in some type of beautiful garden somewhere. So
well, now a truck's going by, so I don't think this is a good, it's not paradise, but it's the best place to be. Let me just move over. It's the best place to be right now. So beautiful day today.
So tell me how our state's capital is doing, because I have driven through Albany a bunch. I've been to Albany, here and there, but it's been a while. What do you like about, because obviously I know there's family ties, but how would you describe Albany? What can you tell me about, I want to know where to eat. I want to know where to go and relax outside. Tell me about, I want to know some stuff about Albany.
Well, I have to be honest. I actually live in Saratoga, so Saratoga is the best place to be right now because of the racetrack.
Okay.
And any place to eat in Saratoga is phenomenal.
Okay.
It's just has a state park, the racetrack. There's a lot to do out there with, you can bike, hike in the Adirondacks. You're 20 minutes from Lake George. I'd say Albany, is a really nice city to bring, to have a family, and close to a lot of different cities like Boston, Burlington, Vermont, New York City, New Jersey. Everything's about 2.5 hours away, so nothing's too far that you can't take a weekend drive to. And so I don't live right in the city of Albany, but close by, and I've enjoyed it, obviously, with my life being at Siena, my work being at Siena for 22 years, and living out in this area. It's nice. It's a cozy place to live, for sure.
Yeah, you said you're out in Saratoga. My uncle loves the racetracks, loves them,
Yeah.
and so he tells me about Saratoga all the time. Do you go out there? Will you go and just have like a day and whatnot?
Yeah. I mean, I literally live about 1.5 miles from the track, so I walk down there and go for a couple races. I don't always stay for the entire day, so it's very cheap to get in. The tickets are cheap. You walk around, you see some live horse racing, but you don't have to bet. You can just watch the horses run, and as well as if you stand by the paddock, you can see them up close. It's really beautiful, and also to watch them train in the morning. They have breakfast there too. You can bring coffee, and it's very peaceful. So yeah, it's really, really nice. It's and it's a 6 weeks. It's usually 6 weeks of racing, so it's very built up. A lot of hype, a lot of people, a lot of tourists right now in Saratoga, but it's a happy place to be in the summer. That's the way I would describe it.
All right, fair enough. It's a happy place to be in the summer. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Like the opposite of like Manhattan. So like, but
Well, especially if you're winning. If you're winning on bets and and races. But horses are beautiful, and everybody has their opinion on horse racing. But to me, it's a great sport, and I certainly love the competition of it.
yeah, I think it's a beautiful thing. It's just, I don't know. It's different. It's fun. It's like fun for the whole family. So
Yeah, exactly.
I feel the value in that. But I think that that's great, and I think it's great that you get to do that, and you get to be around your family, and you get to relax and have a good time. And I'm so happy for you, because I know that this is a new chapter, and I got to steal you in this chapter bi-monthly for this, and to have you on for Sports Ends and a Vowel. But how is everything going? How what I love about life is that you're the author of your own book.
Mm-hmm.
So you're writing your own story, you're writing your own chapters, you're putting it all together. And I always tell people, write a book. May the book of your life be a book that you actually want to read when you're done.
Mm-hmm.
One you actually want to go back to. You don't want to open that book and be like, oh, I don't want to look at chapter 15. So you know what I mean? So you want to make a book that you're willing to read. What does this chapter look like so far?
It's a great question, because people. Well, first of all, people said to me, when you retire in the summer. It's the best time to retire because you can enjoy it, which is the truth. Obviously, being in Saratoga, but I've also been golfing a little bit more, so that's pretty cool. And I'm getting into that a lot more. But I'm trying new things. This being one of them, being on the radio and doing a little talk show, which has been fun. I've been trying to put myself in some uncomfortable scenarios, really, things that I haven't done. I'm doing some consulting work for a leadership program at Lemoyne with Bob Barretta as part of the Inside the L program, and that's been pretty cool to be a part of something that I've never had to really do, in terms of managing other people besides my team. So we've had a committee together to make improvements to the Inside the L program. And so I've been doing that. And I'm also doing some consulting and mentoring work with college coaches. And that's why, I'm in Albany today, working with some coaches out here and really enjoying that. And so, I totally can't shut it down with basketball. I'm really I don't think I can ever totally shut it down. So trying new things, and I'm finding that, I'm liking the freedom of, doing things on my time, and in a sense on my terms. And it's been really nice. And so, it's been a busy summer. It's been a real busy summer for me. And then on top of that, trying to, spend some time with my family, both here in the Saratoga area, as well as in Buffalo and Rochester. And just spent the weekend celebrating one of my siblings' 60th birthday. So it's all been cool. It's been pretty neat, and I'm really looking forward to, how all of it starts to evolve, to this next year, and putting my faith in God that, he'll put me in the best situations with the skills that I have. And that's really what I want to be doing.
Yeah, and that's, and I love that. And I want to sit with that for a second. Faith in God. It's something that is at the core of everything that I do. And I love it so much. And when I think I can't, I can. And last week was an interesting week. And my great uncle Pat, who is the last of 12 siblings on my grandfather's side, my dad's dad, he passed away.
I'm sorry to hear that.
No, I appreciate it. He was just shy of 100. And my Uncle Pat passed away. And on Monday we had the wake. And, it was tough because there's some people in my family that are just not nice. And I looked at my mom and I was like, I'm so proud of you, because my mom is like such the bigger person. And my mom and I went up to these people who haven't talked to us in years, and we were just kind, and we gave them a hug, and we were nice. And I was like, no matter what they do, we can feel good about that. But, that could be a stressful situation. You're at the wake. The next day is the funeral. He was a war hero of World War II. And they did they had the flag, they folded the flag, they played the music, and then if that doesn't get you emotional. Yeah. And they bring the flag up to Patrick, his son, and they said, "Will you accept this on behalf of the President of the United States, the United States Army," and all this stuff. And it was so incredible to see him honored that way. And then I literally left the funeral, left all of that, went to the party, and then got on a plane and flew to Charlotte because I had to do the ACC kickoff. And so I went from seeing family that had no respect for my mom and I, and dealing with that and trying to be the bigger person, not knowing why people are mean, burying my great uncle, going through some other stuff personally, flying down by myself to Charlotte, saying to myself, okay, now I got 2 days where I got to interview 14 schools. And I got to tell you, what God did from Tuesday to Thursday was bless me. And I looked up at him and I said, man, and I did. I got emotional. I said, you are incredible. You are amazing. And I went there, and my record at the ACC was interviewing 42 people. This year I interviewed 51. My name and my company website was said more than any other brand on the ACC network in America. And that was because I kept asking questions. And 63 questions in that I get to air over the next 2 weeks, it was a testament to hard work, effort, and enthusiasm, and that nobody and nothing will keep me down. So, Gina, with that put on display today on stage, what can you say about God, God's blessings, and when you feel like you can't do it, and there's all these things in the background that nobody knows about, like a death in the family and this and that and personal stuff. Nobody knew when I landed in Charlotte that I had just gone through a lot of really emotional things. Mm-hmm. But I sat in that chair and I did my job, and I think I did it better than I ever have because I pushed myself to be better. What can you say about dealing with the behind-the-scenes war, believing in God, and somehow, some way, when you feel like you can't do it, you somehow find a way to do it?
Well, I think, just like what you just said, past experiences, prove that, even in the deepest, darkest moments of your life, that faith has brought you through it and has taken you through it. And how lucky we are that we believe. And, I think that's the main piece to this, is that when you're in those dark moments and you feel like you can't go on, that at some point in your life before you were able to get through because of the faith that you have. And I think for me, because I'm a lot older, I think those situations have happened a lot more, and I can point to those situations, much more than maybe a younger person can in their life right now. But what I would say is just, continue to believe and have faith, and just go through those things that, give you joy and happiness. Those are the things that I believe God wants you to be doing. I don't think if you're not enjoying yourself, that's what you should be doing. And so, if you have joy in what you're doing, even though it's hard and it's tough, continue being faithful, because like you'll get blessed tenfold, in terms of, sticking with it, because that's the plan. That's where you're supposed to be. So that's what I could say to that.
Yeah, because and that's the thing. I mean, when you do what you love and you love what you do,
Exactly.
you haven't met my mom yet, but this wonderful 4'10", 4'11", tiny little wonderful human being, scariest person in the world as a child if I got in trouble, and sweetest woman in the world. She's Italian. Your mother is supposed to be the scariest person and the sweetest one, and when you're Italian. And so my mom yesterday, she said, you do what you like, you do what you love. You're out there like doing what you love and loving what you do, and I'm proud of that. And she got me to cry on the air. And so, but Gina, that's the thing. Real recognizes real. And what I recognized about you in coaching and everything, like when I first met you, you're like, I care. And I don't care if I'm standing out on this cliff by myself. Like, I believe in myself. I believe in this team. I believe in this school. And I felt that.
Mm-hmm.
And then when the team won their first ever Northeast 10 Conference Tournament Championship, I stood there, and I believe I said it to you, but it was like, of all people that could win anything, for all the events I've been to and everything I've done, when your friend wins something, when somebody you like genuinely built a friendship with that started professionally and turned into, I just respect this person, like I told you, you made me cry. And it's because like seeing that effort and that love and that positivity, I think it's a beautiful thing when you see people do what they love, because I value that so much. And I think with you, we're talking about recruiting, and we'll get to that in a second, about honesty and all that, but you're such a human being that, at least from my perspective, you're a good person who's working hard to achieve goals, and you want to see everybody succeed. And I think that exudes off of you. And I think in moments like that, I think that's why so many people are proud of you and happy for you, and why you have the support you do and the respect you do, because you have faith, because you work hard, and because you care. And we talked about it a couple weeks ago. How do you stay relevant in an ever-changing world when you're recruiting? And it's, if you're honest and you care and people mean something to you, you're always going to be relevant, because people are always going to want honesty, and they're always going to want somebody who cares about them. People work with people they want to work with. So what can you say to that respect of, like, I don't know. I mean, you just seem like when you win a championship, to me, it means more, because the person behind it, I know that, like, I know you have faith, and I know you do it with love, and I know you do it with passion. So it's just different. When you see a coach win a championship, it's great. But when you see Gina Castelli win a championship, you're like, oh, one of the good people that, like, literally probably at one point thought she was just by herself believing, she got to do it. And I think that that's pretty incredible, from that picnic table to cutting down that net.
Yeah. Well, I think, also I would say that, that move in particular, going to Lemoyne, that was a move I made on my own. It wasn't people saying you should do this. It was something that I felt in my heart that it was important for many reasons. And I think that move gave me strength to make more moves and to stay, committed to what we believed and what we could do at Lemoyne. And as the days were going through, and the years were going through at Lemoyne, I was enjoying it, and I knew it was the right thing at the right time. And so, I stayed with it. And because of that move, it made this move easier, that, okay, it might not be, it might not be totally like coaching, but, I can do some other things. And I know that, if it's not the right thing, I'm secure in the decisions I'm making, I'll do something else. And it's, what you do in your life in terms of your career isn't who you are, So I think, when you get to a level of understanding that, it's a lot easier to be okay with doing different things. And as long as you hold true to who you are, I think is more important, with everything that you're doing. So it's a little bit easier that way.
Speaking here with Gina Castelli, Sports Ends in a Vowel, bi-monthly every other Tuesday at 10:15 a.m. Eastern Time, exclusively on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets life inside of the Cafe Kubal studios. That leads us perfectly into the topic of the day, a message to recruits on what they should look out for. As someone who has coached for so long within this and has recruited, what should be telltale signs? What are some of the things that recruits should look out for? Because a lot of people sell young student athletes the dream, but not everybody always tells them the truth.
Well, I think that, what I try telling recruits is they are more in control than they think they are. So, I think the issue we have now in recruiting is that so many people are involved with a student athlete's recruitment. And so everybody's telling that kid, what schools are good, because maybe the relationships that coach might have with that college coach that's recruiting them. But what's most important is that, that recruit does what he or she feels in their heart is important to them. And, it's hard to tell a 16-year-old that, what matters to you? Is it the distance? Is it academics? Is it all of the above? Is it, playing time, levels? And to me, I think those things need to be sifted out with that player before anything else. And the number one thing I would say above all else is communication. You can ask a college coach, pretty much anything, but a college coach isn't going to pry, is going to tell you what to ask. And, I think the relationship that is built with a college coach is the most important thing, because that's the person you are going to probably be with, all of your career. And that person you need to feel is going to be honest with you, is going to care for you, is going to help you through tough times, is going to give you that tough love. That to me is the most important thing. And unfortunately now with texting and, social media, it honestly makes it more difficult to communicate, because, texting, emails, and social media, you read all of these in your tone. You don't read them in the tone that the student athlete or the coach is sending it. And so you don't really get an idea of where everybody stands. And it's hard. It's hard for young kids to talk to adults, and to ask questions. But to me, the kids that do end up doing a much better job, in terms of making decisions that best suit them. And that is what I would say is the number one most important thing, is real communication. I think something that's lost in recruiting is that as a college coach, I've done it so many times more than that recruit. This is their one time they're getting recruited. It's the one time parents are really listening to coaches, where I've done it so much more. So we learn to say the right things, and, say them in a way that, that could maybe steer them in the direction you want. So, it's really, really important to develop a good relationship with that coach, because then that coach is going to eventually show his or her true colors, in a sense, in the discussions you have. And, so what you could avoid, there's so many things, but what I would say that the number one most important thing is communication, is whether the recruit calls, the parents, it's just questions, just constantly finding out more about what the school's like, what the coaches like, what the players are like, and does that fit what you want, your 4 years to look like at that school. So
when you've gone through recruitment, have you had kids, come to you and say to you that, they were lied to at some point in their recruitment, or they were told something? I mean, did you ever experience that with a player that kind of came to you and said, hey, Gina, I'm getting recruited by 3 other schools, and this was said to me, and I thought this was going to be? And I mean, did you ever have to deal with it, or maybe get to a kid who you were saying honest things to, and it was hard for them to trust because of a situation?
Yeah, and I think, both ways. I think also sometimes when you're too honest, or when you're really honest, I also think that's a strike against you as well sometimes, because kids don't understand that. You try to tell them like it is, and then then they go to the school where is not probably the best school for them, and then a year later they're coming back telling you, I wish I would have gone to Lemoyne, or or Siena, or New Albany, wherever, so and but sometimes you got to go through those things, so I think it's difficult. Kids are growing, and they're just, they have a set idea, and then they have other adults speaking to them of what they think is important. And it's really hard for a recruit to just say, okay, this is what I want, this is where I'm going to go, when you have, the top 10 program recruiting you, but that you probably might not be playing there, but you could be playing at a mid-major, or you could be, or a Division I school, a low D1 school is looking at you, but you could be getting better minutes at a high D2 school. It's hard to be really honest with yourself as a player, because you think you're better than what you are sometimes. But those kids that can really understand that.
The Wildcat Sports Pub, 3680 Milton Avenue in Camillus, New York. Right. Yeah, and I think that the conversations that you have to have. I mean, how did you kind of realize and navigate how to tell somebody the truth, how to kind of tell them where they fit, and where you thought their talent level was? I mean, I'm sure over time that you had to evolve and grow and find a way to get things across and try to be clear and positive and honest. What can you say about the evolution of your message when you were recruiting?
Well, what I started doing in recruiting, I recruited less players, and I recruited all players that I knew could help our program. I think sometimes, you can have a really big group of kids that you're recruiting, and you have like an A list, a B list, and a C list.
Just to let you know, this week we have the Wake Up Call special menu item going to be coming to you. What do you think about it, Pete?
I think it's great. It's good flavors, spicy, sweet.
What
do you want?
Settling for a player that I didn't think that could give us good minutes, because I knew, especially at D2, the amount of scholarships that we had were less than D1. So I was, I put much more value in who I was recruiting, to be honest, because at the Division I level, you could have 13 to 15 scholarships. So you could take a chance on a potential kid. But at the D2 level, you can't really take those type of chances because you don't have as many scholarships. So that made recruiting a lot better for me because I could spend the time with the kids on the list. There wasn't a lot of kids on my list. And so because of that, I was able to have better conversations and, we could invite them up on campus more, spend the time. And I thought that ended up becoming a much better way of recruiting than just having this big pool of kids, which now what you're seeing, especially at the D1 level, is just kids getting offered. And whoever takes the first one, whoever takes the offer gets it. But it's a lot of kids getting offered at one school, but they may only have 3 scholarships, but there's 15 offers out there. And to me, I feel that that's dangerous because that's when you do get kids that you don't really know as well. And the potential for transfer is much greater that way. So that's kind of, that's how I changed it at Lemoyne. I did it a lot at Siena too, especially towards the end of my career. And I just felt it was a lot better. Because for me, relationships are important too, and the culture of your program is really important. In terms of winning, it's not just talent. It's will this player fit the culture you want as well? And so, there's a number of things that go into it. But to me, this was in a sense, quote unquote, perfect science to recruiting. Is if you have a big list, it just got watered down, and you start losing, the relationships you have, which are so important to your program.
That coming from Gina Castelli here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets that thing called life. Gina, final note here for Sports Ends in a Vowel for this week before we talk in a couple weeks. I like doing rapid fire, and for some reason I like putting myself on the hot seat. I'm going to give you 2 questions before you hop out of here. You can ask me anything in the world, sports, life, literally anything, but you've been so gracious with your time that I think it's only fair. So, and I like to challenge myself, and I like to light a fire in the morning under my butt to make sure I'm awake. So you can ask me any 2 questions in the world. I have no idea what you're going to say. Fire when ready.
Okay, who is the most challenging person you've interviewed?
Most challenging person I've interviewed?
Yeah.
I would have to say Bart Scott and Antonio Cromartie at Jets camp because Bart was rude and Antonio was like egotistical. So it was, out of like over 2,000 people, I don't know, 2,500 people that have been on the show. If somebody says to me, like, who are like the rudest people, it was those 2, and it was at that camp. And I don't know why, but Bart Scott kind of just like had an attitude, and Antonio was trying to like make fun of my shirt, like my shirt wasn't like expensive enough or something. I don't know, but like it was such a stupid thing, and I just remember being like, I don't want to talk to these people anymore. But very rarely does that happen. I would think what a lot of people would anticipate is, oh, Jim Boeheim, the way he talks to the media and this and that. I went to his office. I respected him. I asked him if I could put a chair over next to him. And I sat across from him, and we talked twice in his office, uninterrupted, 15 minutes for one, like 20 minutes for the other. And I would like to hope that there's mutual respect over this last decade, because it seems like there is. But, yeah, I mean, I would say that a lot of people would probably be like, oh, how is it to talk to Boeheim? And I treat him with respect, and I think it's been fine. So I would probably say that. But, yeah, the 2 people that I never need to interview, definitely Antonio. If I saw Antonio Cromartie on the side of the street, I would just keep going. So, like, if I saw him, I mean, like, if he needed help, I would help. But I'm like, if he was walking in the grocery store, I'd just be like, all right, have a great day. But, I don't know. I don't, Gina, you know this about me. I don't do well with people who have egos. Mm-hmm. And I know that if I stand around them long enough, I'm going to say some type of smart aleck comment because I'm going to call out their ego. So I know how I am, and I don't deal with people treating people disrespectfully. I don't deal with people having an ego. So if I'm around it, I remove myself from it. And hopefully maybe Antonio and Bart were just having a bad day. But if you have an ego, you're probably not going to spend that much time with me.
Okay. Okay, last one. Best Italian restaurant in Syracuse, in the greater Syracuse area.
You're gonna get me in trouble. So, so I would say, I mean, I guess best Italian restaurant. See, this is tough. So there's a bunch of them, because as someone who has Italian as part of their blood, if you're Catholic and Italian, Syracuse is the perfect place for you to live. And there's a church on every corner, and there's an Italian restaurant every 10 minutes down the road.
So true.
So I would say, you know what? If I had to pick so many Italian restaurants, I would have to say that, and it's not just because I work with them, I think it's very, 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 very hard to make good veal. And the veal parmesan at Avicolli's is so good.
Okay.
So I'm going to have to give it up to Avicolli's because nobody makes veal like they do. So, you know, and I talked about their veal parmesan sandwich so much. And I talked to one of the guys over there, and he's like, I don't know what happened. It was like the beginning of the pandemic. All this stuff was going on. He's like, we've sold like a huge influx this entire month of veal. And I was like, I'm going to take credit for that because I talked about it every 5 minutes on my show.
That's funny.
But yeah, their veal parm sandwich is the perfect texture for veal. And my grandma used to make veal, and I never usually order it out. So I would have to say that Avicolli's because of their veal.
Okay. I'll have to go try that. I've been to Avicolli's, and it was good. But I didn't have veal. So, yeah.
There's some good stuff. There's good Riggies,
Good ones.
good Utica Greens, a lot of good places, but I don't have to say anything else. I'm off the hot seat. So, so for Gina Castelli, Sports Ends in a Vowel, Gina, as always, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
I know you got to get hopping, so thank you, and I'll talk with you soon.
Okay, great. Thanks so much, Dan.
Thank
Have
you.
a great week.
You too. Take care.
Bye.
That coming from Gina Castelli here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets that thing called life. And speaking of Avicolli's, we got to come back in just a second to give you the ingredients to success. Every Tuesday, to round out our Tuesday show, you get the ingredients to success, proudly brought to you by Avicolli's on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York. That'll be coming up right after this, inside the Cafe Kubal Studios on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora.
Cafe Kubal Mobile Cafe brings the cafe experience to you. We'll roll out to your neighborhood or office, ready to serve our locally crafted espresso bar to our loyal patrons. Inquire at cafekubal.com. Cafe Kubal, coffee for the soul.
Hi, this is Amy from Mother's Cupboard, home of the whole frittata. We are open daily 6 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. For takeout orders, call 315-432-0942 and tune in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora for our monthly food challenge and try our Wake Up Call signature menu item available 7 days a week. Here at Mother's Cupboard, we are Central New York, and it's our honor to serve you.
Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory, located on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, is home to over 40 flavors with more than 200 flavors in their total wheelhouse. Sky's the limit for this sweet and savory Central New York company. Keep it local at your parties, fundraisers, wedding showers, baby showers, and more by calling 315-450-MA-PA. That's 315-450-6272 for popcorn bars with custom flavors and colors at your upcoming event. Make sure to visit them on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. And for more information, go to maandpazsnacks.com. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. How corny are you? The Mill House Market, located on 3790 New York 13 in Pulaski, New York, is worth the drive every time. Make sure you find your way over to the Mill House Market Tuesday through Saturday from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. as well as on Sunday from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m., and you can enjoy them 3 different ways. They have their opportunity to give you their indoor dining restaurant as well as their general store with local products from local companies, and they have their drive-up, drive-through window, which you can enjoy right there. Grab your food and go Tuesday through Sunday at the Millhouse Market. Millhouse Market, everything, listen, their sandwiches, their salads, the Cobb salad to the meatball sandwich to the margarita pizza, and so in the breakfast pizza. Every time I go to the Millhouse Market, I want to get something different, but I want to get something the same because everything about that menu is fantastic. The most difficult decision you'll have to make at the Millhouse Market is, am I getting one thing or 2 things? Am I getting this for now or for later? $37.90 New York, 13 in Pulaski, New York. Worth the drive every time. Head out there today. Avicolli is located on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, is the home for Liverpool Athletics Wake Up Call, exclusive live on-site monthly broadcast every single month with Liverpool Athletics at Avicolli's, and Liverpool High School is within walking distance from Avicolli's, your neighbor for over 2 decades on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York. Open Tuesday through Sunday for lunch, dinner, and drinks. They have many different ways for you to enjoy their restaurant, be it the pizza casual side, the fine dining side. If you want to take a date there, you want to do something for someone's birthday or anniversary or party, something for mom, something for dad. And of course, they have their bar, their outdoor dining, and you have takeout, delivery, and catering by calling 315-622-5100. That's 315-622-5100 for Avicolli's in our community right there in Liverpool, New York, just seconds from Liverpool High School. Canine Camp Dog Daycare and Canine Campground Dog Boarding there for you in East Syracuse, right off of Bridge Street, around the corner from one another. If you need short-term care, head to the daycare at 228 Old Bridge Street in East Syracuse, New York. And for longer-term care, you can head to the Dog Boarding Canine Campground on 242 Johnson Street in East Syracuse as well. So make sure you make your way over to them and have your furry-loving friend truly have the help that they need, the appreciation, and the love that they need. You want to drop them off with someone who treats them like family. And Canine Camp Dog Daycare and Canine Campground Dog Boarding is a perfect place to do it. I would look no further than them. I trust them with Lily, and I trust them with sending your furry-loving friend out there as well. So make sure you do that today. PB&J's Lunchbox, the food truck you've been following all over Central and Upstate New York, you can now go to their Street Side Cafe. So if you're craving their food, their award-winning peanut butter and jelly, grilled peanut butter and jelly sandwich, to their Philly cheesesteak on a pita, and all of the awesome things that they offer, if you're craving them for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, now you can go to their Street Side Cafe, which is minutes from the thruway, minutes from the highway, minutes from Destiny USA, and on Onondaga Lake Parkway. PB&J's Lunchbox, 663 Old Liverpool Road in Liverpool, New York. Head off there today, Monday through Saturday, open 9 a.m. to 7 p.m., and breakfast, lunch, and dinner are served daily, so you can get whatever you want on the menu all day long. Victory Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, located in Skaneateles, New York, on 791 West Genesee Street, gives you something that every patient is truly looking for. A doctor and a team that listen to their patients. How difficult is it to find someone who just listens to you, brings you through, doesn't give you the doctor jargon, speaks to you like a human being, tells you why they're doing what they're doing and what the benefits are, whether it be for rehab and physical therapy, preventative care, or surgery. Victory Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, a place I've trusted for almost a decade now, is there for you to help you along your way to victory, from head to toe, treating all different types of injuries. Victory is there for you because, as you know, victory happens by small steps taken every single day. It doesn't happen overnight. And Victory Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, led by Dr. Mark Petropoli, is a fantastic place and, in my opinion, the only place to call. 315-685-7544. That's 315-685-7544. With that being stated, here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets that thing called life. Very excited to have you here for the ingredients to success. Greg sent me a message here. He said, "Pro move, Mr. Tortora." What did I do? So I want to know what I did. What was my pro move? Let me know. But Greg, if you're on here still, shoot me a message. Tell me what my promo move was. But we're here inside of the Cafe Kubal studios. You know the Cafe Kubal is located on 3501 James Street, 324 West Water Street, 208 North Townsend Street, 401 South Salina Street, all in Syracuse. Obviously inside of Golisano's Children's Hospital in downtown Syracuse. And, of course, their newest locations, one of them being in Manlius at 343 Fayette Street, and the other one in North Syracuse at Sweetheart Corners on the corner of Route 11 and Taft Road with their first ever Cafe Kubal. Oh, my goodness. Yes, they did. No, they didn't. Oh, yes, they did. Drive-through. So make sure you go out there today and enjoy some of that. And I definitely appreciate them for all that they do here in our community and beyond. And with that being stated, the final piece of every Tuesday show, the ingredients to success, proudly brought to you by Avicolli's on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York. So let's jump into the ingredients to success. Every week I pick a topic, and once I pick the topic, I give you the ingredients. So my topic today for the ingredients to success is know your worth. Know your worth is the topic. And in knowing your worth, what are the ingredients to success? Well, know who you are. Understand that. When you understand who you are and you know your worth, you realize that in life, with the topic today being know your worth, it's understanding that you don't just take the first piece of candy that's out there, right? You don't just take the first thing. Sometimes the first thing is the best thing, right? But you do your research, you do your due diligence. In life, there's a very delicate balance between putting up walls and just guarding your heart. My best friend Evan always says from a song, he always tells me, hold your head, guard your heart. Which means don't put your head down, right? Don't sulk. Don't let somebody make you feel bad about yourself or something make you feel bad about yourself. Hold your head high. Respect yourself. Have dignity. And guard your heart, which is self-explanatory. You know, protect yourself. So, knowing your worth, hold your head, guard your heart. Two huge ingredients in that. Be good to yourself. Be kind to yourself. Listen to yourself. Your gut is not going to it's not going to steer you wrong. Now, we're not perfect. We all make mistakes. And we could all seek to do better. But a good friend said to me last night, he goes, you know, you keep making the same mistake over and over again. And God's going to keep giving you the same test until you pass it. And I said, well, why does God keep doing this to me? He said, because you didn't pass it. And it's ironic that a lot of the advice that I've given people over the years has been finding me in these last couple weeks. A lot of the advice I've given other people continues to find me. And one of the advice pieces that I've given before that just came back and found me when I was talking to a good friend yesterday was exactly that. When I've given the advice of, if God asks you to take a test and you don't take it, he'll keep giving it to you. If you don't pass it, he'll keep giving it to you. And last night I got hit with a shot of reality talking to one of my good buddies, and he said, God gave you the test again. I said, why? He said, because you didn't pass it. He's like, you might have been dang near close to passing it. You might have been right there to passing it, but you didn't pass it. So he's going to make you keep taking it. And knowing your worth is knowing when it's okay to make a decision, right? Knowing who you are. And it's funny because I sat here on this broadcast years ago and something huge had happened in my life. Could have been devastating, but I didn't let it be. You know, and I think when we're fighting today battles, we forget our yesterday battles. And what I mean by that is when we're fighting battles today and we think we can't get through these, we can't survive, we forget how many battles we've already faced. How many times did you say to yourself, I can't do this, I won't do this, I'm not going to be able to get through this? How many times have we said in the past, this is too difficult, I'm never going to get past this? I'm never going to get past this. If I had a nickel for everything I was never going to get past, I'd be a billionaire right now. So, knowing your worth understanding who you are and understanding what you've been through, that you can make decisions in your life that are obviously going to affect the rest of your life. But a few years ago, somebody had made a decision out of my control, and it could have affected my entire life. It could have changed everything for the worse or the better. I got on the air the next day. I kept going. I said to myself, this person's not going to take my happiness. They're not going to take my job that I love to do. They're not going to take my dreams. They're not going to take Dan Tortora out of Dan Tortora. They can't have me. Making that decision years ago, you look back on that moment and you say, okay, if you were willing to make that decision then, what are you willing to do now? The topic of the ingredients to success brought to you by Avicolli is here on Wake Up Call. Knowing your worth. What are you willing to do to preserve your health and your safety? Let me tell you something. You're going to meet a lot of people in life who are going to say a lot of things to you. They're going to feed you a dream. A lot of people are going to tell you that they love you. A lot of people are going to tell you that they're there for you. A lot of people are going to tell you that you're, the best at what you do. They're going to butter you up. Oh, thanks, Greg. I know what Greg was meaning now. Thank you, brother. I appreciate that. That's a very nice compliment. But people are going to tell you things sometimes that you want to hear. People are going to say things to you that they're going to know is going to tug at a heartstring, right? And some people are genuine and some people are not. But people are going to say things in life. And actions speak louder than words. There's a song that I actually really like, and it's called Actions Speak Louder Than Love Songs. So, and love songs are words. But actions speak louder. I've had 1 million people tell me, Dan, I'm going to do this. I'm going to live these dreams. I'm going to work for. I've had people say to me, I'm going to work with you. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to intern you with you. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to help you with your business. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I love you. I'm going to be with you forever. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to call you tomorrow. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. If I had a nickel for every time somebody said I'm gonna. Actions speak louder than words. Know your worth. If you have a boss that promises you a promotion and doesn't give it to you, and you give it some more time and they don't give it to you, actions speak louder than words. If you have somebody that tells you that they love you and they're going to be there forever and they're not, actions speak louder than words. If somebody tells you they're going to call you and you can count on them and they're going in with you on this 50-50, actions speak louder than words. I don't care what anybody says, I care what they do. Because everybody talks, right? Everybody can talk. And everybody does. And in my world of living my dreams, I don't know if I meet it more than you do. If you're not chasing your dreams, which I hope you are, and if you're not, please start today. But when you're chasing your dreams and you're in that world and you're fast tracking it and you're just going, not fast tracking it, but you're just like, you're on that, you're just mode, you're with it. When you're chasing your dreams, you will meet so many people who say they're going to chase their dreams, but they don't. The amount of women that have made me promises that they don't keep, vast and long. None of those people matter. The amount of bosses that told me we're going to do this, this, and this with your show, vast and long. Those people don't matter. The I'm going to work with you, I'm going to pay you, I'm going to do this, this, and this, vast and long. They don't matter. Actions speak louder. You want to know who's there for you? When your great uncle dies, who reaches out? Who asks you how you're doing genuinely? Who cares? Who puts their BS aside, even just for the day? When it's your mom's birthday, who reaches out to her? I had a ton of friends reach out to my mom to wish her a happy birthday. I didn't ask any of them to do it. None of them. My best friend Evan said to me when I talked to him in the morning, it was like 10 o'clock in the morning, and I'm talking to him on the phone on my mom's birthday. He goes, quick question before we go anywhere else. Have you reached out to your mom today to wish her a happy birthday? Like basically, you better not be on the phone with me before you talk to your mom. Actions speak louder than words. People that care will show themselves. Bosses that care that will show themselves. I don't care what you have to say. I care what you do. Because everybody talks. Everybody talks. And I walk the walk. I tell you, listen, Shamarko's going to be on the show. Okay. Outside of him having to cancel because of an emergency, in almost 18 years of broadcasting, I've had a few people cancel because of emergency. And I have some people I know I just can't count on. And because they've shown me 3, 4, 5 times when they're supposed to be somewhere, they're not there. So you got to pay attention to that. So that's reality. Again, actions speak louder than words. When I ran my festival and I had 20 people say I'm going to be there, 19 of them show up. One of them didn't. Who was the one that didn't? The person that I had problems with before not showing up. You have to know your worth. And when actions and words don't link up, when something's off, when something's not right, when someone's not putting in the effort, when someone's not doing what they're supposed to be doing, you don't need to cry about it. You don't need to whine about it. You don't need to, what about it. You just need to move on. When my bosses lied to my face about giving me a promotion and I brought them the contracts for them to live up their word and they laughed at me, I left. Because I didn't want to work for somebody whose word I couldn't take. People ask how you break up with someone that you've dated for years and you don't chase them. Because their words and their actions didn't link up. So they weren't worth it. I am only interested in people I can trust. And that number is tiny. But those are the only people I'm interested in. In business, can I trust you? In my personal life, can I trust you? You don't put somebody in your bed you can't trust. You don't put somebody at your dinner table you can't trust. You don't put somebody in business you can't trust. And yeah, it's trial and error. It's trial and error. And you can't ever hold the new person to the past person's sins, professionally or personally. Somebody screws you over in business, you get a new business partner, you can't think they're going to be as bad, but look out for the signs. Pay attention. I don't hold a woman today responsible for any woman of the past, but I'll tell you what, if her actions and her words don't link up, I'm not holding her accountable for somebody else who did that, but I'm paying attention. And when I see that, I'll let it go. Because life is too short to spend any time around people who do not know your worth. If a boss doesn't know your worth, if a family member doesn't know your worth, if a friend doesn't know your worth, if a romantic partner doesn't know your worth, if a neighbor doesn't know your worth, there's no reason to spend your time. Actions speak louder than words. Know who you are. Know your worth. Know it. You don't ever have to chase. You don't ever have to listen. I don't chase my dreams. I jog, and I run. I'm not a chaser. I tell people this all the time, and I'm just trying to word it differently about chasing your dreams because I believe I can attain anything I go after. That's what I'm trying to say. I tell people this all the time. I'm not in the cartoon Tom and Jerry. And there's a reason why I'm not in the cartoon, because I don't chase. I don't cat and mouse. I will work with you. You have my respect until you lose it, and you earn my trust. You earn my trust, you earn my respect. And in the beginning, I have to give you a little bit of trust, a little bit of respect off the bat, right? I got to give you the benefit of the doubt. You got to give me the benefit of the doubt. But what you do from there is up to you. If I open the door and I let you in, you decide whether, what you do is whether or not you stay in that door. You got to, in business and in personal, right? You got to do this, right? You got to open the door, right? You got to open the door. But when somebody walks in and they start throwing stuff around your kitchen, you send them out. Somebody walks in, they help you wash the dishes, you let them stay. Know your worth. Know who you are. Hold your head. Guard your heart. This is Wake Up Call. Ingredients to Success, proudly brought to you by Avicolli's on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York. Don't let me hear any of you tomorrow, today, next week not holding your head and guarding your heart. You want a prayer to God? Keep it simple. O Lord, name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Or however you pray. God, guide me toward what is good. Guard me from what is not. Guide me toward what you want to be mine. Guard me from what is not. Guide me toward the truth. Guard me from the lies. Guide and guard. And help me to be strong no matter what comes my way. God don't give you anything you can't handle, even though sometimes it feels that way. Thank you to Shamarko for On the Mark. Thank you to Gina Castelli for Sports Ends in a Vowel. Thank you to Avicolli's for the ingredients to success. And thank you to you for being awesome as always. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory, you know what to do. If you live in this community, go to 201. Go to 201 Old 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York, and get yourself some Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn. You can also go to maandpaspopcorn.com, and if you live in the community and you can do in-store pickup, if you order online for in-store pickup, you can get 20% off. So, okay, if you're going to walk over there anyways, you're going to drive over there, use my promo code, order online, get 20% off. maandpaspopcorn.com, promo code DT20. If you live in any one of the 50 states and you're not going into the store, maandpaspopcorn.com, use the promo code DT20. That's DT20 at maandpaspopcorn.com. A special thanks to all of our incredible partners in Central and Upstate New York. Cafe Kubal, Carvel DeWitt, Wildcat Sports Pub, Mother's Cupboard, Chick-fil-A Cicero and Chick-fil-A Clay, Victory Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, Avicolli's Canine Camp Dog Daycare, Pizza Man, Honda City of Liverpool, Millhouse Market, PB&J's Lunchbox, Canine Campground Dog Boarding, and Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. Once again, use that promo code DT20. Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora is live for you every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt, on facebook.com/wakeupcalldt, and on facebook.com/livenowdt. And you can also listen worldwide on our internet streaming radio on mixlr.com/wakeupcalldt and on the homepage of our website, wakeupcalldt.com. And of course, once we go live, we go to the archive. MixLR, I owe you a bunch here, and I promise you I'll bring it to you. MixLR, Spotify, Stitcher, TuneIn, Podbean, iHeartRadio, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. Search Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on any one of these archives, and you will find our shows. Plenty of them. Podbean has over 1,500 of them. Search Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, or one word, Wake Up Call DT. With all of that being stated, find us on Facebook at Wake Up Call DT, Twitter at Call DT, and Instagram at Wake Up Call _DT. I'll see you tonight for Wake Up Call's bonus show, live on site on location for Champions Corner, as we celebrate with Lemoyne Men's Lacrosse National Championship Team for 2021, on site on location at Pizza Man, 50 Oswego Street in Baldwinsville tonight, Tuesday, July 27th at 6 p.m. I'll see you out there. That's when the show starts. It will broadcast live on facebook.com/livenowdt for those of you out of town, and we'll see you soon. Facebook at Wake Up Call DT, Twitter at Call DT, Instagram at Wake Up Call _DT, and I will always leave you with these words. God bless, no stress, do your best. Be good with each other. I'll talk with you soon.